Early rising baseball fans, it is morning baseball here at Fenway Park. This is the final game of this 4-game series. It's Patriots Day in Massachusetts, and we are starting early. Blue Jays bounced back and won yesterday's game, 5 runs on 14 hits, and the lineup was similar to this today. Josh Donaldson against the Red Sox this season, off to a good start. 9 for 26. He's got 5 extra base hits in this series. Donaldson is 4 for 13. Ryan Goins against today's starter Clay Buchholz. He's got 9 for 21 with 2 extra base hits, 6 RBIs. He has driven in 11 RBIs against Boston going back to last year. Blue Jays hope those hot bats stay alive against Clay Buchholz.
And they know all about Clay Buchholz. He's the longest tenured pitcher on the Red Sox roster. This is his 8th year in the big leagues. This is his 3rd Patriots Day start. And he's hoping to get on track. His first 2 starts of the season have not been very good. A combined 11 hits, 10 earned runs over just 9 innings pitched. That's why the earned run average is at 10. For his career, though, he has pitched like Cy Young against the Blue Jays, 13-9 with a 340 earned run average. This is his 28th career start versus Toronto. So they know all about this right-hander.
Most of his success against the Jays has been at Rogers Center. He's 10-3 at Rogers Center, 3-6 here at Fenway Park. We are set. Michael Saunders was the leadoff man yesterday. He is back top of the order. Here's the first pitch of the game. It's in there for a strike, and we are underway. It is a beautiful day here in Boston. They are running the 120th Boston Marathon as we speak. Inside, a ball on the strike. Just beyond the bleachers, a couple blocks away, is Kenmore Square, and the runners will pass by through Kenmore Square on their way to the finish line.
You couldn't pick a better afternoon or a morning, I guess, for a run. It is absolutely spectacular here today.
And I tell you what, there are some runners in town. A worldwide event, to be sure. Ball on the strike to Michael Saunders. We mentioned Buchholz and his problems with the Blue Jays in this ballpark. He has surrendered 8 home runs to the Blue Jays, including a 5 home run game back in September of 2009.
Executing pitches, that's what has been the problem with Clay Buchholz. There's no doubt he's got outstanding stuff. He just hasn't not been able to command it. Throw it where he wants to.
He threw that one in a good spot.
That's one of them. He's got an outstanding breaking ball. Fastball at times becomes very ineffective because he hangs it, catches too much of the plate. There are his numbers in 28 games versus the Blue Jays.
Full count. Clay Buchholz and David Price will push each other to be the slowest pitchers in baseball. They're both very deliberate. They take a lot of time.
And you know what they do? They throw a lot of pitches, too. First batter of the ball game, already a 3-2 count. We'll see how many of those he goes through this afternoon.
Saunders lifts it high in the air to left. Chris Young on the warning track. Wind's blowing it around a bit. He is there, makes the catch. 1 down. Defensively, let's look at the rest of the Boston lineup. Chris Young in left, Jackie Bradley Jr. in center, and Mookie Betts is in right. Josh Rutledge makes his first start of the season. It's at third base. Bogarts and Pedroia up the middle. Travis Shaw slides across the diamond to play third. And Christian Vasquez back behind the plate, his 3rd start in this 4-game series.
And the Red Sox have not committed an error at any defensive position in the last 6 ball games. That's Josh Rutledge over there, just recalled on Wednesday from AAA. Gets the start at third base today. He has only made 6 career starts at third base. So with these right-handed batters in there, Donaldson, Bautista, Encarnacion, the rest of them, John Farrell is going with the right-handed hitting Josh Rutledge.
Rutledge got into 39 games with the Red Sox last year. Josh Donaldson pulls it foul, bounces it into the seats. Josh for the series is 4 for 13. Against Boston, he has gotten off to a great start. 6 RBIs so far. This gets a piece of it.
Well, Clay Buchholz has all kind of different ways to get you out. He's got the fastball, the curveball, the cutter, the changeup. He'll throw them all just about the same amount of time, so he becomes very unpredictable. Doesn't use one pitch really more so than the other. Although they're trying to get him to use that fastball a little bit more to stay aggressive.
Made a pretty good pitch just off the plate outside. It's 2-2 now to Donaldson. Buchholz threw a no-hitter in his second big league game. He was called up from Double-A Portland, and in his second start, he no-hit the Tampa Bay Rays. Well, there's a lot of life on that fastball.
He can cut the ball. That's 91 miles an hour with the cutter. And he'll use that a quarter of the time as Bautista waits. I think as a hitter, what you have to do, you got to wait him out. He's going to throw a ton of pitches. Told you 3-2 on the first batter. He's 3-2 again on the second batter.
Bounced foul by Donaldson. Blue Jays broke out big time yesterday. 5 runs on 14 hits. Bautista homered in that game yesterday. It's a welcome sign for John Gibbons. He'd been scratching his head as to where the bats had gone. Came in that game yesterday as a team batting .214. Bounced in the dirt. He didn't want to give Donaldson anything hard to hit. Tried to get him to chase a breaking ball. Well, we mentioned Clay Buchholz. Blue Jays have faced him a lot, and they have had their way with him pitching here at Fenway Park. Look at the difference in the two ballparks.
You want to talk about different types of splits at Toronto. Says he loves it there. It's a high mound built of clay. Says he feels really good when he's on that mound, and the numbers showed in Toronto. He's 10-3 on ERA, just over 2. Here, not so much. I have talked to some of the pitchers before, and they talk about this mound here feeling like it's very flat, making it very difficult to spin the baseball.
Strike on the outside corner to Bautista.
I think
Jose's the DH today. Excuse me, Pat.
I think you're always in a defensive mode when you're pitching in this ballpark, just because of the dimensions and that short left field wall. The best thing that you can do is be aggressive, I think, and use your fastball, hit your spots, and then put the hitter on the defensive mode instead of vice versa.
Bouncing ball. Rutledge has it. Pedroia at second, back to first, double play. Buchholz will walk to Donaldson, but he's erased on a double play to end the top half of the first. Jay Happ will start when we come back. The Red Sox booking bets top of the order. Dustin Pedroia did not play in the game yesterday. He is riding a 9-game hit streak, 15 for 39. He scored 6 runs over that hit streak. And in the cleanup spot today, how about Travis Shaw? He's off to a great start against the Blue Jays this season. He's 6 for 19. 4 extra base hits and 6 RBIs. Today he is playing first base. Hanley Ramirez will be the DH. David Ortiz out in the lineup.
Well, it's taken 12 games, but the Red Sox finally get a left-handed starter. This is Jay Happ. Makes his third start of the season. He's 1-0 with a .225 earned run average. He's using his fastball with better command, and I think he comes into this game very hot. That's one of the reasons why for his career. He's 3-3 in 9 starts, including quality starts in 3 of his last 4 versus the Boston Red Sox.
The Red Sox have had just 29 plate appearances against left-handed pitchers this season. Very unusual you go this long without seeing a left-handed starter, but that's the case for Boston. Mookie Betts 2 for 13 in the series. Jay Happ misses with the first pitch. That's off to a bit of a slow start, batting .240 overall. He has 2 home runs and he's driven in 9. It's this one out in the air. Carrera, the right fielder, calling for it. Pilar calls him off and makes the catch. Carrera starting for the first time in right field this season. Take a look at the rest of the defense for the Blue Jays behind Jay Happ. It is Michael Saunders in left. Kevin Pilar put on a show here defensively yesterday. Carrera, we mentioned, starting for the first time in right. Donaldson, Tulowitzki, Goins, and Encarnacion. Edwin making his 4th start of the season at first, and Martin will handle the chores with Jay Happ today. Dustin Pedroia, the second baseman. Ball on the strike.
I mentioned Jay Happ's, I guess, transformation, which started last year when he was with Seattle, and then he went over to Pittsburgh, spent the time over there, and says he understands himself a little bit better. He can control his body, thus he can control the fastball a little bit better. His command has been great. He's been able to stick that fastball when he needs to.
Here he falls behind 3-1 to Pedroia. Every time you talk about a pitcher turning the corner, getting back on track, you mention his delivery, and that seems to be the foundation for everything.
And for Jay, it's a very simple delivery. They have tried different things over the years. The last time he was here a couple of years ago, they thought about dropping his arm angle down just a little bit so he could sink the ball more, and maybe that would help him stay in the strike zone a little bit more. And then when he went to Pittsburgh, they raised the arm up back to its original spot. He comes right over the top. And then something clicked for him. He says, I can just, my simple mechanics in my pitching delivery helps me to throw strikes.
Well, and now because of that, he feels confident and he's working quicker. He's not sitting out there contemplating each pitch. He gets to sign, he rocks and fires, and that plays well for everyone. Pedroia hits it into center. Pilar comes in, then backs up a couple of steps. 2 fly ball outs here in the first. Jay Happ, we mentioned he has only given up 1 home run in this ballpark, and that was to Johnny Gomes a few years ago. But he's actually pitched okay. His ERA is over 6, but he's just 1-1 in 3 games. He's made 2 starts, both in 2014.
He also talks about being able to command both sides of the plate now with his fastball. He said that's something as a young player, a young professional, I was not able to do. Look at that pitch. First pitch right on the outside part of the plate. He can cut the ball now. He can get it in on right-handers, and he'll get his share of ground ball outs.
Shortstop Xander Bogaerts. He gets jammed on that pitch, inside and then outside. Back and forth. That's the key. Keep everybody off balance.
Command both sides of the plate. Look at pitch trackers right there. First pitch on the outside corner, then he cuts the second one in. Now he can go anywhere if he wants to. He can elevate a fastball if he wants. He can bounce a breaking ball.
Martin wants it up. He got the strikeout. Good start for Jay Happ. 3 up, 3 down. He strikes out Bogaerts to end the inning. Happ goes fastball away, fastball in, fastball up, out over the plate. Strikes out Bogaerts.
Jays on Sportsnet. Presented by the all-new Honda Civic, now available with Turbo, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
Beautiful day here in Boston as Blue Jays and Red Sox started this game at 11 a.m. They have been playing this Patriots Day game in the morning since 1968. They made the conversion so the fans theoretically could come and watch the game and then head over to Boylston Street to the finish line and watch the race come to conclusion.
Last time I was here was 1992 when we played in a Patriots game. Blue Jays. I know the game was 6-4. Who won that game? Did we win that? I think we did.
1992. You did. 6-4 Blue Jays. Bob McDonald won that game. Blue Jays, of course, played yesterday afternoon at a 1:30 start. Quick turnaround this morning. Nobody took batting practice today. Everybody just kind of got loose and shook off the cobwebs and strapped it on. Inside to Encarnacion. It's a 2-2 count. Buchholz gave up a pair of home runs to Edwin here at Fenway Park back in May of 2014. Upstairs. Another full count.
You know, at this, Blue Jays have done a really good job against some of the tougher pitching early in the season where they have worked counts and got that starter out of there after 5 minutes. That looks like the game plan here this morning is work Buchholz.
High fly ball to right. Mookie Betts coming in a few steps now. Breeze is blowing in and chases him back a little bit toward the infield. One down.
You know, Blue Jay hitters are not all about standing there and swinging as hard as you can and try and hit home runs. They have a plan when they get up there. They did it against Tanaka, if you remember that. They did it against Chris Archer, two of the better right-handed pitchers in the American League. Made him work hard and got him out of there quickly.
Troy Tulowitzki takes a strike first time he has faced Clay Buchholz. Tulowitzki trying to get it going at the plate. He had a good spring and wasn't able to carry that hot bat into the regular season.
Had that leg kick working in spring training and he was driving the ball all over the place. 4 home runs in the spring.
Tulowitzki has 2 homers and 5 ribbies so far this season. Inside. What's different in your mind with Tulowitzki during the regular season than what you saw in spring training?
Well, I mentioned that he had that leg kick and it seemed like to keep him back just a little bit longer and then his swing would bring him forward. Now I don't know why. Once the season started, he's going back to his toe tap. Watch his front foot. He taps it back and then he goes forward. He's eliminated the high leg kick. Josh Donaldson. That was all Donaldson, the one that he uses, and Jose Bautista.
Seems like the timing of a toe tap would be very crucial.
Get back. You tap your toe back towards your back foot and then go forward.
Ground ball wide of third into left field. Tulowitzki gets the first hit of the ball game. Bouncing ball through the left side. It's a good start to his day.
He has shown some signs of coming out of it. That's a 3-1 fastball. They wanted it inside and it's over the middle of the plate. But Troy has shown signs of coming out of that season-long slump. He's hit a couple of balls back through the middle. That time he's able to pull the ball into left field. I don't think we have seen the Troy Tulowitzki that we saw in Colorado just yet.
No, I agree with you. He's a 297 career hitter, and we haven't seen the real Troy Tulowitzki. 195 career home runs for Tulowitzki. Russell Martin batting in the 6th spot. Martin's had a couple of hits in this series. He's 2 for 8 so far.
This is another guy that the Blue Jays have to get going right here. Russell Martin. He had a very good at bat in yesterday's game. It was in the 8th inning, and he sent a ball back through the middle. He ended up being stranded out at second base, but it was a good sign that he stayed back through the middle. Didn't try and pull off of the ball. Get him going and get those 23 home runs from last year.
Well, this is a good matchup for Russell. He has 6 hits, but 4 of those hits have been home runs against Clay Buchholz. Looking for his first home run of the season. Outside. Christian Vasquez back behind the plate, and he has drawn rave reviews since his return from AAA. He made his season debut on Friday night through to Rick Porcello, and John Farrell's evaluation was he brings energy, he brings confidence to the pitching staff, and he's got a terrific arm. Martin bounces it towards short. Bogarts to Pedroia at second, back to first. Second double play of the afternoon turned by the Red Sox. Tulowitzki gets a single. He's erased on another double play.
And they think they found it in Jay Happ because he found something last year. His last 12 starts, he has been dynamite. A 152 earned run average and an 8-1 record for Jay. Just 15 walks and 71 strikeouts. The Ks, the strikeouts have been up and the whip has been down. He's been able to control that fastball. He's cutting the ball. He's sinking the ball just a little bit more. I think he understands pitching now just a little bit. He understands himself, and his numbers show it.
Jay Happ's had an interesting career. He was drafted in the 3rd round by the Phillies in 2004 out of Northwestern University. And then the Phillies traded him in 2010 along with Anthony Gose and Jonathan Villar to Houston for Roy Oswalt. And he has bounced around. He traded from Houston to Toronto in the summer of 2012. And then the Blue Jays traded him to Seattle for Michael Saunders. Travis Shaw has had a good series. 4 for 10 in the series with 5 RBIs.
And his hit yesterday has caused a firestorm here in Boston. Hit a home run in the 9th inning off of Roberto Osuna. And now the radio waves have been lighting up that John Farrell should have been pinch hitting for all those right-handers. It's been crazy since yesterday, hasn't it?
Well, and we talked about this a little bit earlier in the day, that all the media, they don't necessarily have all the information. You know, nobody's going to make announcements before the game. Oh, this guy's not available, that guy's not available. You know, you don't want the other team to know that. So John Farrell and all the managers, they're not under any obligation to reveal anything about their team. Ryan Goins was out in right field. He'll come in on the dirt and make the play on Travis Shaw.
Plus, you have to look at the big picture. I think if you're a manager, it's 2 weeks into the regular season. He was talking about Chris Young basically facing Roberto Osuna, and he doesn't do very well against right-handers. He said he's got to be playing. We signed him to come over here and to play. He's got to play, and I'm committed to him yesterday, even though there was a right-hander in the game at the time.
And tomorrow they're going to face their second left-hander, Drew Smiley. So John Farrell has to think about the big picture and make sure that Chris Young doesn't gather too much rest sitting on the bench. Hanley Ramirez. Hanley's had a couple of hits in 12 at-bats during this series. Ramirez is filling in the DH spot today. No David Ortiz against J-Hap. There's a line drive down the right field line. That's a fair ball, and it's going to bounce over the wall for a ground rule double. Pat, that's one thing we have seen this year from Hanley Ramirez that we didn't see last year. He is shooting the ball down that right field line. That's about the third time he's done that in this series.
And remember the triple he had at Rogers Center. That was to right field where the ball bounced over Jose Bautista. He's normally a guy that's like, okay, I'm going to take advantage of that left field wall and try and pull it. He doesn't. Slices the ball down the right field line and into the stands for extra bases. Hanley Ramirez, you know what? He is just a good hitter.
That's his 6th hit to right field this season. This is the aforementioned Chris Young. He's 0 for 4. He got that start yesterday against Aaron Sanchez. 0 for 4 in the series. 1 out. Ramirez at second. High pop-up on the infield. Tulowitzki, the shortstop, takes charge, makes the catch right near the bag at second, 2 down. Boy, the wind is blowing that ball around. All the infielders are converging on those high pop-ups. It appears as though the ball's affected more than it might be suggested by that flag out there in center.
And don't take your eyes off the ball either. There's not a lot of clouds up there, so it's going to be tough to pick the ball up. Sun could play a factor.
2 down now for Happ. Josh Rutledge gets his first at bat of the big league season. Hit .316 in 5 games at Pawtucket. He had 39 games a year ago for the Red Sox, and he spent parts of 3 seasons in the big leagues with the Colorado Rockies. Basically a shortstop, and as Pat mentioned, he's making a rare start at third base. This is just his 7th career start.
They've got some options now in their infield after they brought up the Hernandez kid yesterday and he got his first big league hit. They've got a right-handed hitter in Rutledge and a left-handed hitter in Hernandez, so they've got some options to move people around.
How about the debut for Marco Hernandez? He became the first Red Sox player ever with a hit, a run, a walk, and a stolen base in his major league debut.
First Red Sox ever?
Ever.
That's a mouthful.
He had a nice debut. He broke up the no-hitter of Aaron Sanchez with a broken bat single to left field with 2 outs in the 5th. 2 balls and a strike to the Red Sox third baseman, Josh Rutledge. Fouled straight back over the screen. Pat, this town is supercharged, of course, with all the activities going on. And we walked over to the ballpark at 8 this morning. People were lined up at the bars. They're going to have a party all day long. And that marathon. Some of the people won't finish until 7:30 tonight.
We had to walk in the streets because the sidewalks were just crowded with people trying to get into the restaurants.
There's a base hit to right field. Ramirez is around third. He's going to score. Rutledge is headed for second. Here's the throw from Pilar, not in time. Josh Rutledge, an RBI double, first run of the ball game.
When Rutledge was with Colorado, it looked like he was going to be the second coming of Troy Tulowitzki. He played shortstop and he had some pretty decent power numbers, but it just hasn't worked out for him. This time he stays right on this ball, slices it to right field. Kevin Pilar has got a very accurate arm. He had 10 outfield assists last year. This one is just off the mark a little bit, or he has Rutledge at second base.
That's the most difficult throw for a center fielder, when you have to go to your left over in the alley and then come back and throw against your body. And that ball just tailed offline a bit. See, the Blue Jays are checking with their video room to see whether or not they want to challenge the call, and Gibbons waves it off.
Looked like he got there in plenty of time. I wonder if he came off. There's what you were talking about, a right-handed throwing center fielder going to his left and then having to turn all the way around. Normally he's a very accurate throwing outfielder.
Christian Vasquez, 3 hits and a double in this series. He started 2 of the 3 games. He did not start yesterday with the knuckleballer Stephen Wright on the mound. Ryan Hannigan was behind the plate. I've got that ball in on his hands. Vasquez had Tommy John surgery after spring training last year, and he's made a pretty speedy comeback.
Anymore, they're saying 15 to 18 months of Tommy John. Now, that's for pitchers, right? He's a catcher. But who does more throwing than catcher?
Nobody. Not even pitchers. They take days off. Catchers have to catch pitchers every day. Good job by Jay Happ. He minimizes the damage. A couple of doubles, and the Red Sox have taken a 1-0 lead as we head to the third.
CBC has game 3 of the Caps and Flyers. Washington leading that series 2-0. It's the Stanley Cup playoffs, 7 o'clock Eastern on CBC. Buck.
Thank you very much, Hazel May. And a beautiful morning here in Boston. And you can see just beyond that Mass Turnpike, beyond that bridge, the Kenmore Square, and the runners for the Boston Marathon will cross through Kenmore Square, making their way to the finish line.
You and I were at the finish line last night.
We were. We crossed the finish line, strolling across it, of course.
You and about 1,000 other people were down there.
Ryan Goins chases the first pitch up and away. Goins, we mentioned his good numbers against Clay Buchholz. 263 average for the season. Goins against Clay Buchholz, 9 for 21. Or 429 average. One thing I have noticed from Buchholz, he's trying to pitch these left-handers down and in, and he's been effective so far.
He can use his breaking ball to do that. This is a big pitch, I think. Let's see what kind of day Buchholz has. Let's see how he feels. 0-2.
Got a little bit more of the plate than he wanted to. Buchholz at the bag in time. For Buchholz, Goins is retired.
But he went right after him, and that's the one thing that the Red Sox are trying to get Buchholz to do. Work a little bit quicker, be a little bit more aggressive on the mound. You don't need to go 3-2 on everybody.
Well, Pat, that's a great point. And when you think about the great pitchers, the real dominant pitchers around baseball, they'll take that bottom third of the lineup, maybe even the bottom four of the lineup, and they really go after them. They don't mess around with those guys.
They're aggressive. They use the fastball, and they say, here, you're hitting down here for a reason. Here's my best fastball. Let's see what you can do with it.
Fastball inside to Kevin Pillar. Pillar had a breakout day yesterday, 3 for 4 on the afternoon. He was 0 for 7 in the series up to that point.
Managers will do that from time to time, like we were talking about in the opening, that take a guy and put him in a different spot in the batting order, and believe me, it looks different. The game looks different when you're hitting leadoff. Then you move down into the number 8 spot. Chances are you're not going to hit in the first inning. You're on the road. Your team hits, you go out, you play defense, you come back in, you get to take a look at the starting pitcher for 6 or 7 hitters. It's a different feel, and John Gibbons knows that, and that's what he was trying to accomplish yesterday by moving Pillar back down to number 8.
Look out. That ball was ripped just into the first row of seats behind the camera bay. Well, you better pay attention here at Fenway Park every time a pitcher is ready to make a pitch.
Hazel, you all right down there? I know she's down there, isn't she?
Sorry, Doug.
Pretty close to the action.
Be careful, duck.
2-2 pitch to Pillar. The looper, and this is going to be trouble. It drops in front of Mookie Betts. Kevin Pillar with another base hit to right.
Home Hardware and Building Center locations, proud partners of the Toronto Blue Jays. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
.20 degrees here in Boston today. This is Ezequiel Carrera. He is hitting in a 9th spot, playing in right field. First time Bautista has not been in right field this season. Jose is the DH.
So Carrera gets the start in right field. Kevin Pillar over at first base. Might be a good time to try and get a stolen base. You got to pick the right pitch. You know, here's another thing that Vasquez does. He can shut down a running game. John Farrell was telling me that in spring training, they got him clocked 175 from catcher to second base. Anything under 2 is ridiculously good. 175. He said he threw out 11 base runners in spring training.
Yeah, he's got one of the quickest releases and strong arms. Very accurate with his arm as well.
That's why you're going to have to pick. If you do decide to steal, pick on the right pitch, and that's that slow curveball from Buchholz.
Who was the best throwing catcher you ever saw?
Johnny Bench. without a doubt.
Oh, you're from Cincinnati.
Yeah, and I'm not biased. He was the best. You know who was right behind him? This guy's idol, Ivan Rodriguez.
But Rodriguez was very good, and he was as good as anybody. And Bench started it all. He had such a tremendous arm, and he had huge hands. I mean, his hands were as big as both of my palms, and he could really throw the ball.
Took pride in it too. Threw the ball around. This kid does the same thing. He's not afraid to throw behind that runner.
It's such a weapon in this day and age if you can shorten up the lead at first base because of the threat of a pickoff. Of course, stealing bases is as prominent as it once was. In the 70s and 80s, there were a lot of teams that ran all the time. And throwing was much more of a premium.
I think you're going to see that start to filter back into the game. The athlete on the baseball diamond who steals a lot of bases. You know, with the defensive shifts and the power bullpens that they have now, you have to manufacture runs. And the best way to do that is with speed.
Another full count by Buchholz, and he might start Pilar right here. 1 out. Red Sox have a 1-0 lead. There goes Pilar. Fouled off at home plate. Pilar was off on the pitch, and Carrera fouled it off. Young shortstop Xander Bogaerts and the veteran second baseman Dustin Pedroia, they have quite a routine after they see the pitch called from the catcher. They'll communicate back and forth as to who has coverage. There goes Pilar. Ball was popped in the air. Over near the Blue Jays dugout, Rutledge is on the warning track. He gets there and makes the catch. Second out of the inning for Boston.
That was a good pitch to hit right there, and he just missed it. Fastball right down the middle. Buchholz got away with a mistake and knows it.
So back to the top of the order. Michael Saunders flied out to left field in his first. Both clubs with 2 hits apiece. Josh Rutledge, an RBI double, has put the Red Sox out in front. Ground ball. Past Shaw. Pedroia is there from the grass. He throws out Saunders to end the inning. They were playing Saunders to pull, and Pedroia makes the play.
code MBJ9407 to earn My Blue Jays points just for watching the broadcast. The entry box can be found on your My Blue Jays homepage. The code must be entered by 11:59 p.m. tonight, so look for a new code tomorrow.
It is closing in on noon here at Fenway Park, and people are having breakfast and baseball today. Then most of these people will go over toward the finish line of the Boston Marathon on Boylston Street, and once the runners complete their 26 miles. I can't even imagine that.
I can't even imagine walking it 26 miles.
That's so terrific. So many people we've heard people from all over the world, different languages being spoken all weekend long. Large groups of people come together to run in this great race.
And runners, how many runners have we seen this weekend?
Yeah, we felt bad just walking around Boston. Everybody else was running. They didn't feel that bad, though. Ball on a strike to Jackie Bradley Jr., the center fielder. Jackie Bradley Jr., a terrific center fielder with a great arm. Now starting to show signs that the bat's coming around a bit. Bat misses up and in.
You know, he had great numbers in the minor leagues with the Red Sox, and so far it's taken some time, and you see that all the time with young players. They have good offensive numbers in the minor leagues, but that last step is a big one to learn to hit at the major league level.
A leadoff walk issued by Happ. Well, one of the most pleasant surprises for the Blue Jays early on this season has been how well the starters have pitched. Got off to a little bit of a shaky start, but Pat, lately they've been great.
Pitching deep into the ball games, their pitch counts have been down, and what that does is it sets up your bullpen. It gives John Gibbons' job, makes it a little bit easier for him, that he can set it up. If you're winning, you can go to your #1 relievers down there. It sets up nicely for you. Hey, there's never been a team in baseball that doesn't win without great starting pitching. We saw it last year for the Blue Jays when they had that great year. Everybody talked about the offense, but the starting pitching was outstanding.
They'll keep in a game, that's for sure. Aaron Sanchez picked up his first win yesterday. He's had 3 good starts.
Yeah, I can't recall, but weren't they working on a consecutive streak of the starters going at least 6 innings last year?
Yeah, they had a long streak last year, deep into the season. And you do that, you keep the bullpen intact, and nobody gets overused down there, and everybody will perform a little bit better.
You know, one thing that they had going for them last year is the starters remained healthy. Burley and Dickey, Price when he was there. They stayed healthy and they made their starts. Marco Estrada.
Aaron Sanchez, the only one that had to come out of the rotation. That came after a June start, and he would then pitch the rest of the season in the bullpen. Mookie Betts drives it deep to center. Kevin Pillar on the run. He's got room out there. Bradley all the way to second, has to retreat. Kevin Pillar loves playing in this ballpark because it presents so many challenges. You have that spacious area in right center and that triangle at the 420 sign. And then we saw him make a play at the 379 sign against David Ortiz, took extra bases away from Ortiz. But you really got to pay attention playing center field in this ballpark.
He talked about that the other day, that the deepest part of the ballpark wasn't center field. In every other ballpark, it's straightaway center. It's right center field, right there, 420. And you've got to deal with that. And you got to know how many steps you can take to get into that triangle area.
Remember a couple of years ago, well, several years ago, Johnny Damon was playing here, and he ran into that wall right there in front of the bullpen. Made a great catch, but the next day the relief pitchers painted an outline of Johnny Damon smashed up against that wall. But it is a tough outfield to play because it has so many nuances. Dustin Pedroia, he flied out to Pillar, his first time up. Pedroia is an extreme high ball hitter. It's kind of a rarity in this day and age, but he likes it right around the top of those letters and higher.
And Jay Happ is a high ball type of pitcher. He likes to use that elevated fastball.
Pedroia turns on this one and pulls it into the seats.
And there it was right there. And you can see Pedroia 3-0. He was letting it go. He has a knack of being able to stay on that ball. And what he does is his hands don't make contact and then drop underneath the baseball. They stay up there. They stay high through the swing. And that allows him to elevate the ball.
3-1 to Pedroia. Fouled straight back right over the radio booth. That woke up Jerry Howarth.
I think he's taking this inning off. Joe Siddle was ready for it, though. This one foul straight back. Watch Joe. He's ready.
See that? He ducked underneath, just protecting himself. Full count. 1 out. Jackie Bradley Jr. at first. Pedroia at the plate. There goes the runner. Bounced up the middle. Tulowitzki steps on the bag and gets the double play. He tagged the bag with his glove. Angel Hernandez, the umpire, right on top of it. Tulowitzki reaches over, grabs the ball, taps second with his glove, goes to first to turn the double play.
WestJet Blue Jays Flyaway Contest is now on. Enter for your chance to cheer on the Blue Jays in Boston with WestJet. Go to bluejays.com/WestJetFlyaway to enter.
Thank you very much, Hazel. Troy Tulowitzki, he is such a great offensive player. You have a tendency to forget how good a defensive player he is.
Well, he's so smart. Look at that. He tags the bag and then finishes it off with a throw over to first base. Instead of getting his feet over there to try and tag the bag with his foot, he was smart enough just to bend over, clear himself of the bag, just tap it with his glove. With the new slide rule, if he goes over there to try and tag it with his foot, that runner can slide into him because he's right on top of the bag. Clears himself.
Play.
He's smart. He is so smart. Curve ball from Buchholz, right over the back of Josh Donaldson.
Donaldson, Bautista, and Encarnacion here in the fourth. You know, a lot of fans will react to that pitch up over the helmet of Donaldson and said, man, he's throwing at him. But the hitters know that they can see the spin of the breaking ball and the fact that it slipped out of his hands.
No need to go ahead and start putting runners on base in the middle of the lineup either. That one just got away from him.
Donaldson walked in the first. Buchholz is trailing 3-0 in this at bat. Green light here, you would imagine. All the way.
And he throws him a cutter. 87-mile-an-hour cutter. Managers will give hitters the green light on 3-0, but not all hitters are going to swing 3-0. There are a lot of guys who are afraid to make an out on 3-0 pitch that they don't swing. Instead of being very positive up there saying I'm going to get a base hit 3-0, they're afraid to swing because they might make an out.
Another breaking ball, so Donaldson walks for a second time. Well, the middle of this order, 2, 3, and 4, have really done a great job against the Red Sox this season. These are 3 of the best hitters in all of baseball.
Look at the extra base hits and the production. 6 RBIs, 7 RBIs, and another 7 for Edwin Encarnacion. They're professional hitters. They have an idea of what they want to do, and I think this is why John Gittens was saying after the game that they've got to start getting guys on base ahead of them so they can start knocking in runs and taking advantage of their hot spurts right now. The at-bat yesterday, I thought, by Edwin Encarnacion was outstanding. Remember that against Ramirez with the base open? They elected to pitch to him, and he stayed right on that breaking ball and singled in the left field.
Picked up an RBI in the 7th. Ground ball. Bogarts to Pedroia for 1. Back to first. Another double play. Boston has turned 3 double plays already this afternoon. Bautista has bounced into 2 of those.
Well, this couldn't be more of a tailor-made double play. It's a sinker on the inner half, and it's an easy one. Bogarts, and the ball got to him so quickly. Watch Josh Donaldson. Look where he slides. He's about 15 feet from the bag. 3 double plays already for the Red Sox.
Same scenario for Buchholz in the first. He walked Donaldson and then got Bautista to ground into a double play. Edwin Encarnacion with nobody on. And 2. Buchholz has kept the ball out of the middle of the plate so far this afternoon.
He hasn't made too many mistakes. You know, Vasquez, we were talking about him since he has come back. We have noticed him pitching inside more to these right-handers. Remember Porcello the other night? His first game back, Porcello actually hit a couple of Blue Jays, but when he wants to go in there, he goes way in there.
Up the middle, that'll get through for a base hit for Encarnacion. Full house here at Fenway Park. 2-out single for Encarnacion. Now Troy Tulowitzki. He bounced the ball through the left side for a base hit his first time up. Blue Jays will play in Baltimore the next 3 games. All starts tomorrow night. Marcus Stroman will open up against Mike Wright. Ari Dickey and Marco Estrada will round out the rotation in the Baltimore series. Stroman's coming off a terrific start. He has won 2 games already this season.
Boy, this is where you could really sell out, right? 2-0. You can look for a fastball and try and do some damage right here.
Two outs. That ball got in on him just a bit, and he pulls it foul.
You know what makes Clay Buchholz so tough is he can sink the ball in on righties and cut the ball away from them, then throw a straight four-seamer and then a curveball. And if you look at all of his pitch usage, it's all about the same. He doesn't fall into one pattern. He becomes unpredictable. So that 2-0 pitch, you're looking for something out over the plate. It looks like a fastball, but he cuts it in on your hand, and Tulowitzki can't get extended. He might be the kind of guy, Buchholz, where instead of looking for a certain pitch, you start looking for a certain area, either inside or outside, until you get the 2 strikes.
Took something off that pitch, and now it's 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Blue Jays trail by a run. We're in the 4th inning. This is looped into left field. Chris Young, the left fielder, will get there. And the inning is over. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th. Boston up 1-0. Will leave Boston and head down to Baltimore to take on the Orioles. It'll be a 3-game series before they head home. Oakland A's for the first time this season, followed by the red-hot Chicago White Sox. And then after an off day on the 28th, back down to Florida to take on the Tampa Bay Rays.
Camden Yards has been a tough place the last couple of years for the Blue Jays to play. They're going to be facing a team that's hit a ton of home runs lately. And Chicago White Sox, how about the first place Chicago White Sox at 8-4 with all those great pitchers that they had?
The schedule ahead is brought to you by WestJet. White Sox indeed having a great start. Chris Sale is 3-0. Matt Latos is 2-0. Brett Laurie is there playing second base, and Todd Frazier went from Cincinnati to Chicago to play third base. Good start for Chicago. Xander Bogaerts throws another one into center field. Jay Happ's done a pretty good job of keeping the Red Sox in the big part of this diamond.
And that's because of the fastball. There's something about his fastball that hitters just do not pick up quickly, and it's on him very quick. You and I have talked about it over the last couple of days about spin rate, and that's the rate, the amount of times that the ball spins when it leaves the pitcher's hand. Jay Happ has a very high spin rate.
The spin rate technology is being spread around baseball, and the Red Sox have really bought in. The Blue Jays are paying attention to it as well, and it has an effect on how hitters see the baseball and how the baseball reacts as it gets to the hitting zone. And Jay Happ has a high spin rate, and there's that little extra jump right at the end, and it keeps the hitters from really squaring up on his pitches upstairs.
It just validates that fact as a hitter when you see a guy and all of a sudden the ball hops at you, jumps at you, and it's on top of you. And you can't get it out there.
That's a fair ball. What a play by Encarnacion. Boy, Edwin saved a double for sure as he dove for that ball. Ted Barrett, the first base umpire, waved it fair.
And Travis Shaw can't believe that that ball was fair. He didn't even get out of the box. He thought for sure that that ball was foul. Edwin making just his 4th start of the season. Comes up with a dandy right here. It's where it crosses the bag. Edwin, those quick reactions. Takes it on that in-between hop and takes away extra bases from Travis Shaw.
Now John Farrell coming out to talk to Will Little, the home plate umpire. Say, hey man, you had a better shot at that ball. Did you see it? And now Farrell returns to the dugout. What a play by Edwin. 2 outs. Hanley Ramirez rifled one down into the right field corner for a double in the 2nd and came in to score on a Rutledge double.
You were talking about Hanley last time, hitting the ball to right field with a little bit more authority this year. This guy won a batting title. Hit .342 with the Marlins in 2009. He was one of those type of players, and I don't think he is now, where he is a 20-20 guy. 20 home runs, 20 stolen bases. He did it 5 times earlier in his career. I think the home runs are a given. I don't think the stolen bases are there anymore.
Not only does a player lose some speed, but I believe the wear and tear of stealing bases and sliding into bases all the time physically takes a toll on a player's body.
You know what Ricky Henderson told me one time? He said going back to first base, diving back to first base wears you out just as much as stealing a base and sliding head first. Pitcher might throw over there 4 or 5 times in 1 inning when you're over there.
In an effort to wear down Ricky.
It didn't work.
But that's true, and you would see him, and you see him in the locker room with his uniform off. He'd have scars and scabs all over his knees and elbows, and just really takes a toll on you. So as you become an older player, not only you think about the fact you've lost a step or two, it takes a physical beating on your body. 2-2 to Hanley Ramirez. Cut on and missed. Jay Happ with a 1-2-3 4th inning. We'll go to the top of the 5th, 1-0 Boston. Now time for Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn.
Expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 supported devices. It includes a free subscription to @Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
Not much to see on MLB.tv today. There are only 8 games in the majors, as a lot of teams have this Monday off. Not the case for the Red Sox and Blue Jays. This is the final game of their 4-game series. It's the 7th game these two teams have played already. The Blue Jays are playing in just their 14th game.
I'm counting those 2 exhibition games, so that's 9. 9 games so far in the first 2 weeks of the season.
Russell Martin to start things off for the Blue Jays. Takes the first pitch breaking ball for a strike. Martin grounded into a 6-4-3 double play to end the second. Nice play by Buckles. Took the one hopper and flips to first. One down.
The all-new Honda Civic, now available with Turbo, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
Ryan Goins grounded out to second. His only time up. He's now 1 for 8 in the series.
You know what we don't have on our scorecard yet on the Blue Jay side? I don't want to jinx it.
No strikeouts.
Yeah, we've been talking about that. That's been a theme through the first 2 weeks of the season.
There's a drive to right. Mookie Betts ranges over to his right and makes the catch. Blue Jays came into this game with 36 strikeouts in the series, and the Red Sox starters getting a pretty good start today. That has not been the norm for the Red Sox early in the season.
They got a good start yesterday from Stephen Wright, 6 innings, just 2 earned runs. Price the day before, 7 innings and just 2 earned runs. Porcello pitched into the 7th. John Farrell scratching his head just a little bit with that earned run average.
Buchholz gave up 5 earned runs in each of his first 2 starts. First start against Cleveland, second one against Baltimore.
David Price did the same thing in one of his games against Baltimore. He gave up 5 runs in 1 inning. So it's early. That'll elevate that earned run average.
Christian Vasquez got it all started for Porcello on Friday. And you made a great point about how many fastballs inside we have seen during this series with Vasquez behind the plate.
And he sells out too. I mean, he really gets in there and gives them a target right underneath the hands.
Stay hot, Kevin Pillar. You might just stay in the 8th spot the rest of the season. That's 5 hits in 2 days since dropping down in the order.
He's a career .308 hitter out of the number 8 spot with an on-base percentage of .343. Watch him go down and get this cutter. That's plate coverage right there. Nice simple swing, takes it right back through the middle. He feels like he's right at home, hitting in the number 8 spot.
Right fielder Ezequiel Carrera. 1 out. Blue Jays trail at 1-0. 2 outs, excuse me. Martin grounded out. Goins lined out to right. Pillar with a 2-out single.
We were talking last time that was a good time for Pillar to try to steal. This isn't a good time to steal right here. You got your number 9 hitter. If he gets a hit, then Saunders gets to hit with a runner in scoring position.
Carrera shows bunt. The ball gets away from the catcher, and now the Blue Jays have that runner in scoring position. Carrera had a couple of bunt attempts in the game yesterday, and this time he pulls the bat back and the ball gets away from Vasquez.
You know, and it's not a bad idea. Get on base for Michael Saunders. We told you John Gibbons has been trying to get the base runners on base ahead of the leadoff hitter and then the big 3 in the middle of that lineup. So Put down a bunt attempt. He was successful one time. And that time he's successful in blocking out Vasquez and getting Pilar into scoring position.
Pass ball judged to Vasquez. The cutter off the plate inside has been a tough pitch for the left-handed in this lineup. Carrera looking for his first RBI of the season. Buchholz called his catcher out to have a chat. He got a couple of signs and then said, you know what, I want to talk about this pitch.
These teams play themselves each other so much that they know. And with all the video that's out there nowadays, you got to figure that each team watches the sequence of signs to try and steal the signs.
Well, the technology is such that all of the hitters study pitchers every day, and they have video operators that put together game plan video. So you can sit and spend 10 minutes and have every sign that the catcher has. So the catchers have to be very protective of these set of signs they have and change them all the time. Change up.
What's surprising about Buchholz calling Vasquez out there, it's the first time the Blue Jays have had a runner at second base all game. Maybe just to make sure that they're on the same page.
Strike three call. Buchholz catches that inside corner. Another inside fastball from a Red Sox pitcher, a very effective one. Vasquez slides to the inside and Buchholz delivers. There's a strikeout.
On Sportsnet. Presented by the all-new Honda Civic, now available with Turbo, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
Well, the marathon has been decided. The women's champion has crossed the line. Now the men's champion does that. The men's champion ran the race in 2 hours, 12 minutes, and 14 seconds, 26 miles. They're the winners, all three, top three from Ethiopia. And what a race to go that fast.
The women's race, the winner was at 2:29. Wow.
Incredible. What an accomplishment. Chris Young will lead things off. Young popped out to the shortstop his first time up. 1-1 now.
John Farrell was talking about Chris Young the other day, saying we brought him over here to face left-handed pitching. That's what he did with the Yankees last year, and he had success. He's a fly ball type of hitter, meaning he can elevate the ball and get it up in the air, which should be perfect for this ballpark.
That fly ball's not going to play. This is a pop-up into right. Carrera makes the catch, 1 down. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Inside the green monster, that's the scoreboard, and those bits of light you see are the slots where they slide the numbers down into that manually operated scoreboard. In fact, that's always an adventure for a player making his trip to the ballpark for the first time, to go inside the scoreboard.
Well, be sure you bring your Sharpie, right? So you can sign inside the scoreboard there underneath the green monster.
You see there are many autographs of people that have ventured inside the scoreboard, and they have all the numbers there, and they'll put up the names of the teams before the game and the numbers as the scores change, and the operator comes out in between innings, and there's a doorway that he'll come out and post the signs.
There's the camera made famous in the '75 World Series,
where they shot the Carlton Fisk reaction as he hit that home run off the foul pole down the left field line. There's been some great innovations over the years with television. You and I grew up in an era where all of the graphics were black and white and they were typed. Now we have all the logos and the colors, and we can tell you where the pitch was, how many pitches he's thrown, and how fast it is. It's a marvelous way to watch games now. Bouncing ball. Short hop for Tulowitzki on the money. Troy Tulowitzki came into the majors with the Rockies in 2006. He has made fewer errors than any shortstop that has played the game from that point. He's made just 74 errors in his career.
We saw him make a great play, a heads-up play, when he tagged the bag with his glove earlier on. I think one of the things a shortstop has to do, he has to be able to throw on the run, because you're going to get a lot of plays like we just saw right there for Tulowitzki. And I don't believe I've seen a finer throwing shortstop on the run than Tulowitzki.
No. He throws everything on the run, and he leads all shortstops in total chances per game. 4.99 total chances per game, which means he's getting to a lot of balls, and he's not making any errors. Over that same time frame, Ian Desmond and Hanley Ramirez, two shortstops, have committed 147 errors.
Two former shortstops. That's why.
Happ jumps ahead of the catcher Christian Vasquez.
But if you've never seen Troy Tulowitzki throw on the run, you're saying, what is he doing? He says he feels very comfortable being able to throw on the run like that, and he gives a good throw every single time to that first baseman.
Another chance for Tulowitzki. A little bit extra on the throw deep from the hole. Well, the Blue Jays will bat in the top of the sixth. They're down by a run. Top of the order will start things off Michael Saunders, then Josh Donaldson. He has walked twice. Jose Bautista is due.
Away this evening, Sportsnet has Game 3 between Dallas and Minnesota. The Stars leading that series 2-0. It's the Stanley Cup playoffs, 8:30 Eastern on Sportsnet. Buck.
Thank you very much, Hazel. What a beautiful afternoon here in Boston. It is a holiday, and Patriots Day is in commemoration of the anniversary of the two battles that started the Revolutionary War, the Battle of Lexington and the Battle of Concord, also to commemorate the Paul Revere Ride. So it's a state holiday here in Massachusetts. Saunders, Donaldson, and Bautista, time to get something going against Clay Buchholz. The Blue Jays have hit the Red Sox 4-2, but trail 1-0. Boy's done a nice job of mixing up his pitches, and you got to tip your cap to the young pitcher, Christian Vasquez.
I'm with you on that one. I mean, he has been getting high praise the weekend that we have spent here about handling pitchers, and the pitchers feel very comfortable throwing to him.
There's a base hit for Michael Saunders. That's his first hit since moving into the leadoff spot. So that'll get things going, and that's what John Gibbons was hopeful of doing, get somebody aboard for the big guns.
Yeah, too many times these guys were coming up with nobody on base. Now they got a chance after that leadoff single by Saunders. One other thing that these guys do, we're talking about Donaldson and Bautista and Encarnacion, they'll think right along with that pitcher, and they'll make adjustments in game.
Buchholz has walked Donaldson twice, both on breaking balls. That's a tough call right there. First pitch strike right on the corner. So you wonder if Donaldson is looking breaking ball in this at bat.
He'll do that. He'll make mental notes his first couple of times up and know that he was ahead 3-0, and he threw him a breaking ball, a cutter 3-0, and then a breaking ball 3-1, and he'll look for it.
High and deep, but that ball is hooking foul into the upper deck. Well, Donaldson now, the wheels are spinning. Okay, I got to really slow it down now and make sure I see it out of his hand. Donaldson has some interesting thoughts about bat speed through the zone. And he says, I want my bat going through there at top speed. I might start a little bit slower, but I want to explode through the zone with that bat.
A lot of guys will try and create bat speed, and they'll be quicker until they get to the ball and then slow down. But you're right, that's some bat speed with Donaldson to get through this one. And anywhere in the ballpark with Donaldson hitting, you better be awake. You might get a ball. I wonder if he came to the ballpark today thinking he's going to get a foul ball all the way up there.
Everybody does. I'm going to catch a foul ball today. So Donaldson now with a 1-2 count. Blue Jays trail 1-0. Donaldson shoots it down the right side, but that's going to slice foul into the seats. Well, there have been a lot of foul balls today. Watch this foul ball and the fan that catches it.
How about a broken leg?
Yes, sir. We see
he
the
shows it
broken
off
leg.
to everybody. He's got a Coke and a cell phone in the other hand and didn't spill anything in grabbing that ball. This is a great ballpark for foul balls. You're right on top of the action.
Broken bat, little looper toward left. Young's going to get there and makes the catch. Donaldson left with just the handle of that bat. He lines out to left field.
There was that breaking ball again, and he put it in a good spot.
Jose Bautista, as the DH this afternoon, has hit into 2 double plays. Jose has 10 RBIs on the season. Donaldson is the leader. Then there are 5 hitters with 11 RBIs, and then a group of 7 with 10. Bautista's in that group.
He's trying to take the sting out of Bautista's bat by changing speeds. Leads him off with a changeup.
Up the middle, Pedroia was shaded in that direction. Steps on the bag, Bautista. His 3rd double play this afternoon. Pedroia was playing behind the bag at second. It starts the inning-ending double play.
Will take place May 9th to 13th at Rogers Center and across Canada throughout the summer. These tryouts will help determine the players that will be selected to represent their province at Tournament 12. Register now at bluejays.com/T12 for the T12 tryout in your area.
It's a great tournament to showcase a young talent across Canada, to make sure if you've got a player in that age group that wants to get a trip to Rogers Center, try out for Team 12. Both pitchers doing a heck of a job here this afternoon. 7 hits in the ball game, just 1 run. Bautista has grounded into 3 double plays today. Only been 3 instances in franchise history where a player has grounded into 3 double plays in 1 game. Jackie Bradley Jr. hits it right to Carrera in right. Joe Carter had a 3 double play game against Kansas City at home in April of '97. Alex Rios out in Oakland in May of 2008 grounded into 3 double plays, and today Jose Bautista is on that unfortunate list.
That's a surprise with Alex Rios, the way he could run.
He hits the ball sharply too.
Yeah, I guess if he hits it sharply right at him. Well, the hitters haven't gotten their wake-up call just yet with this early start.
Back to the top of the order, Mookie Betts says flied out twice to Kevin Pillar in center field. Jay Happ has retired 9 in a row. The only 2 hits for Boston came in the 2nd inning. Pair of doubles capped off by the Rutledge RBI double.
Blue Jays have pitched Betts tough. They have stayed firm with him with the fastball. All you have to do is look at some of the numbers. He had the highest batting average last year on breaking balls. Hit over 350 on breaking balls. Jay Happ has used that fastball effectively. There's another one.
Well, if you have a weakness, it'll be exposed in this day and age. Everybody has video. In years past, you had to play against a guy, pitch to him a few times, and try to figure out what he could hit and what he couldn't hit.
And talk to guys around the league, right? Well, what did you guys do?
That's lines out to the second baseman.
Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Proud partners of the Toronto Blue Jays. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Yawkey Way outside of Fenway Park in a gorgeous day here in Boston. And the pitchers have taken the day so far. Dustin Pedroia hits one right over the Red Sox dugout. The protective screens around baseball have extended to the dugouts all the way around the backstop from dugout to dugout, and certainly an added measure of protection for the fans. And you can see it really doesn't pose much of a problem for the fans watching the game.
You got seats right there. Wouldn't you want to be protected?
Yeah. There have been some awful scenes here in Fenway Park where fans have been hit by those line drives into the seats.
How about shattered bats that helicopter into the seats?
The only one I've heard complain about it, you see that guy's mouth was dented because he held it up to protect himself from that hot shot. Now, of course, it's going on the internet.
It's going viral.
Look at me. But there's a Red Sox fan. Everybody knows Stephen King, and Stephen King complained about it. It's not like the measure of excitement that foul balls come in there. But then again, that's Stephen King.
It's Stephen King.
Pedroia hits one high into the seats down the right side. This is popped up back over the screen. Pedroia and Happ having quite a battle. Happ has retired 10 straight Red Sox hitters. Last man to reach was Jackie Bradley Jr., who walked to start the third. He was erased on a double play by Pedroia. Happ's doing a nice job of mixing his pitches up.
You know, early this year in spring training, we were talking to Pete Walker about him, and he said, you know, with the newfound ability to throw to both sides of the plate, he can sink the ball and cut the ball. That's going to help his pitch count, and he's going to stick around a lot longer than he did when he was a younger player. He's just at 80 pitches here.
And he wins that battle with Dustin Pedroia. Jay Happ's doing his part. He has set down 11 straight. has really had his ups and downs over the years with the Boston Red Sox. When you look at where he was in 2011, he had a very respectable ERA, but that has been a roller coaster ride ever since.
Yeah, you want to be consistent as a starting pitcher. This is his earned run average over the last 5 seasons. Up and down, up and down, up and down. One explanation could be he's been on the disabled list 7 times in his career. He's had torn fingernail, he's had some elbow problems, he's had some knee problems, a neck strain. He has had problems. It seems like every year he spends some time on the disabled list. So that could explain some of the inconsistencies.
He's a 2-time All-Star. He made his first selection in 2010, his first full Major League season. And his best season, he had 17 wins and a .233 earned run average.
You only have to look at his starts against the Blue Jays to see the inconsistencies. He's pitched some of the best games of his career against the Blue Jays and some of his worst games against the Jays.
He had a 5-home run game in September of 2009. He gave up 5 home runs here at Fenway Park to the Blue Jays. Blue Jays won that game 8-7, a typical Fenway Park ball game. Bautista homered in the first, Lynn homered in the first, Aaron Hill homered in the second, Kevin Millar in the third, and Lynn for a second time in the fifth. So 5 of the 8 home runs he surrendered to the Blue Jays here at Fenway Park came in one game. But you're walking tightrope here. Junichi Tazawa and Koji Uehara starting to limber up. Tazawa throwing, Uehara just stretching out.
He has become the 7th inning man, and John Farrell will use him to help that pitcher get through the 7th inning if he needs it.
Well, Buchholz has done a good job of keeping his pitches down to Encarnacion. Troy Tulowitzki waits on deck. He's 1 for 2 so far this afternoon. Ripped into the seats. Look out down there. Man, you got to pay attention. You're just beyond the bag at third, and those seats angle out toward the playing field.
Especially when you've got someone like Edwin Encarnacion at the plate, or some of these other big right-handed hitters coming up. Bring your glove to the ballpark. You're going to need it down there.
Buchholz strikes out Encarnacion to start the 7th. Just the 2nd strikeout for Buchholz this afternoon.
You know, when you go soft and change speeds, when you get to 3-2, you can reach back for a little something extra, and he still has it with that fastball. He throws that one right by Encarnacion. You're right, just the 2nd strikeout of the afternoon.
He has induced 4 ground ball double plays. That has kept him from harm's way. Troy Tulowitzki waves at the first pitch breaking ball. Buchholz was the opening day starter a year ago, but was limited to just 18 starts because of an elbow strain. In fact, you were right. It's been one thing after another for Buchholz as far as staying healthy.
7 times in his career. This is his 8th year in the big leagues. He has been on the disabled list.
Tulowitzki pops it in the air into shallow center. Long run for Jackie Bradley Jr. What a play! Oh my, he slid the glove right underneath that ball just before it hit the ground. It was about to hit on the grass, and he snuck his glove underneath it to make a terrific catch.
What division in baseball has better center fielders than the American League East? There are some great ones, so winning the Gold Glove is going to be tough. But Jackie Bradley Jr., you put him in that category. He is an outstanding center fielder. The wind kept pushing this ball away from him, blowing him from right center field, and Jackie Bradley did not give up on it. That is Chris Young giving way to Jackie Bradley, who takes a hit away from Troy Tulowitzki.
Look how close the ball is to hitting the grass, and he slides his glove underneath it to make the catch. Boy, when you throw a lot of strikes and you got your infielders and fielders engaged, you'll get a lot of good plays behind you.
You mentioned 4 double plays, and now a great play by his center fielder.
Russell Martin 0 for 2. This is as good as I have seen Clay Buchholz for a long time. Using all of his pitches, and he seems to have an idea with every pitch.
He's hitting his spots. And wherever Vasquez is setting up, he's hitting that glove.
There's a base hit for Russell Martin. Another hit to the opposite field for Russell. 2-out single.
That play by Jackie Bradley now looms pretty large. If that ball falls in and then Russell does this, you're looking at first and third with just 1 out. But as it is, Russell stands over there at first base with 2 out. And John Farrell's got a decision to make.
Isn't this interesting? No runs on 6 hits. He's made the call to the bullpen. So Buchholz will leave here in the 7th with 2 outs, 6 2/3. No hesitation from the manager, John Farrell. Clay Buchholz 6 2/3, 6 hits, no runs. He'll turn things over to the bullpen, trying to protect this 1-0 lead.
Register now at sportsnet.ca/fantasy for the Sportsnet Playoff Pool presented by Samsung. Make your picks for a chance to win some terrific prizes. Buck.
Thank you, Hazel. As we have a new pitcher into the game, it's 29-year-old Junichi Tazawa in his 8th season in the Red Sox organization.
6 games so far this year for Tazawa. 5 of them have been scoreless. This is where he has started to pitch. Ever since the acquisition of Craig Kimber, everybody's been pushed down, and Tazawa has been used to pitch the 7th inning or finish off the 7th inning. He came in the other night and retired the 2 batters he faced in the 7th inning, and he seems to be throwing a little bit harder this year. His fastball's got a little bit more life to it.
I think he wore down last year. They pitched him a lot, and I think it caught up with him. This is his 3rd appearance against the Blue Jays, a total of an inning and 2/3 this season. There's a good fastball, and Goins is tied up. Tazawa, for his career, has had nothing but problems against the Blue Jays. He's given up 21 earned runs in 26 1/3 inning. They have hit him harder than anybody in baseball.
That's rare, because you look at his overall numbers, his career numbers, and they're outstanding. Good fastball and a good splitter. 26 career home runs allowed, 9 of them to Toronto.
Goins is 0 for 2 so far this afternoon. Off the end of the mat, big hop for Pedroia. Pizarro does his job, closes out the Blue Jays in the top of the 7th. Clay Buck called 6 2/3, does a great job. The defense was terrific behind him, including this fine catch by Jackie Bradley Jr. to take a hit from Tulowitzki. Jay Happ has been terrific here this afternoon. 81 pitches through 6 innings. He allowed 1 run on 2 hits. Walked a batter and struck out 4. And for a 3rd straight start, Jay Happ has pitched 6 complete innings, trying to stretch it out here, and he has been in charge. The only 2 hits he's allowed came in the 2nd inning when the Red Sox scored their run.
Yeah, 2 back-to-back. Well, not back-to-back, but 2 doubles in that inning, plating the only run of this ball game. He's been great. He's used his fastball. He's kept it down. He's turned the ball over, used his changeup. He's cut the ball, curveball, everything. He has kept it down in the strike zone in a very hot and a very good offensive team like the Boston Red Sox. He's handled them all afternoon.
So the Blue Jays down by a run, looking to support Jay Happ a little bit. Happ has retired 11 straight. He's got the middle of the order: Bogarts, Shaw, and Hanley Ramirez. Well, the Blue Jays starting pitching has been terrific early going. Ground ball. Goins' couple of steps to his left.
The all-new Honda Civic, now available with Turbo, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
Travis Shaw cuts on the first pitch. Shaw was retired on a terrific defensive play by Edwin Encarnacion in the fourth. Shaw himself thought it was a foul ball, was late getting out of the box, but Encarnacion dove and caught the ball in foul ground on a one hop and then made the throw to Happ covering first.
Took away a sure hit, a sure double for Travis Shaw. You know, this is why this is a great game, isn't it? You were just mentioning that the Blue Jays starting pitching has been so good. All the experts were saying, they're pitching, they can't pitch. That's going to be the weakness of that team, and their hitting's going to be great. Well, it's just been the opposite for the first 2 weeks of the season.
It sure has been opposite. Stroman, Happ, Estrada,
Sanchez yesterday.
Wow. They've been great. Ari Dickey's had a couple of shaky starts, but overall he'll take the way the Jays have pitched. And I don't care how they start. Blue Jays are going to hit.
Sure.
These guys have a track record of hitting, and they're going to hit again. Combination of factors, I think, early on.
Just pull out their baseball cards and look at the back of those baseball cards, and they'll tell you that they're going to hit.
Kevin Pillar, long run from center. He's not going to get there. Travis Shaw picks up his 5th hit of the series. He dumps one in front of Kevin Pillar.
You know what he does? Travis Shaw, he stays in there against left-handers. Watch that front shoulder. It doesn't give in on that ball away. That allows him to just get enough of the ball and hit it right in front of Pillar for a hit. Just the 3rd hit for Boston this afternoon.
That base hit snaps a streak of 12 straight retired by Jay Happ. He's been great here this afternoon. Happ has induced a double play. That came in the 3rd off the bat of Dustin Pedroia. Hanley Ramirez scored the only run of the game. Ground ball. This should be 2. Goins goes to the bag, steps on it, throws to first, double play. Boy, it's been a heck of a ball game. Both teams turning in some fine defense. The pitchers have set the tone. There have been 6 double plays in this game today. This is the 2nd for the Blue Jays. It gets Jay Happ out of the 7th. Is brought to you by the all-new Honda Civic, the 2016 North American Car of the Year.
Well, Kevin Pillar had 3 hits in yesterday's ball game, and he's doing it again this afternoon. Dumps this ball into the outfield for his first hit, and then takes his cutter down and away right back through the middle. 3 hits yesterday, 2 more this afternoon. The 2 drives of the game brought to you by Kevin Pillar.
Kevin Pillar swinging it since he's been dropped down in that 8th spot. He's going to have a tough challenge as he's going to face Koji Uehara. After Tazawa closed out the 7th, Uehara takes over here in the 8th.
It might be a new role for Koji Uehara, but it's the same guy. There are his numbers in 7 games. He hasn't given up an earned run yet. 7 innings. Righties are having trouble at 0.71. His fastball still very good. He spots in a good spot. He's got that great splitter.
Kevin Pillar, batting average up to 259. It doesn't take long to rise and fall in the early going.
Those 3 hits yesterday added how many points to his batting average?
About 40.
40.
Justin Smokes grabbed the bat. He's out on deck. He will hit for Carrera. Blue Jays about hit the Red Sox 6-3. But the Red Sox lead in the only category that matters.
If you are hitting against Koji Uehara, you got to make him get the ball up. Fastball, he keeps it down, and his splitter, a lot of times, out of the strike zone.
Bouncing ball, that's a fair ball. Rutledge airmails the bag at first. Another hit for Kevin Pillar. Leadoff man's aboard. He's going to end up at second as that ball bounces out of play. So Kevin Pillar, 3 for 3. And now he's going to go to second base as he's taking off his hand guards and gloves.
Ill-advised throw right here by Josh Rutledge. Told you he hasn't played many games at third base. Just his 6th major league game over there at third base. Be better off just to plant that right foot and make a strong throw. And when he sends it over Travis Shaw, watch the ball just roll right into the camera well, and that'll give the Blue Jays an extra 90 feet.
That's the first error by Boston in 7 games. They have really played well defensively, but that error is a big one. Now it gets the tying run in the scoring position here in the 8th. Justin Smoke will come up as a pinch hitter. He's batting for the number 9 hitter, Ezequiel Carrera. Carrera finished over 2 with a strikeout.
Smoke has had a couple of at-bats against Uehara. He's got a couple of hits. One of them was a home run.
Smoke is 1 for 12 on the season. And he has struck out 11 times. Right there, he needs to make contact here.
Yeah, and at worst, pull the ball to the right side of the infield. You see the 3 infielders on the right side and advance Pillar to third.
Lifts this one in the air, and that's going to be out of play.
Here comes the splitter. Be ready for it. Move up in the box if you have to and try and catch it before it drops.
Nobody moves in the box anymore.
Why not?
Because they're uncomfortable.
You know it's coming, right?
You know it's coming, and we used to think about that all the time. Get up there before it sinks. Move up in the box. 0-2. Bounced in the dirt. That's something Pillar has to have on his mind with Uehara throwing those splitters.
Vasquez is so technically sound as a catcher when you watch him back there. That was textbook. Blocking that ball off the plate. Go down to your knees as quick as possible. Cover up between your legs. Let that ball hit any part of your body. Lean forward just a little bit so if it hits you in the chest protector, it bounces right in front of you.
One ball, 2 strikes. Upstairs. Kevin Pillar, 3 more hits this afternoon. He's now 6 for his last 7. Got a piece of it to stay alive. Michael Saunders is on deck.
Just takes enough off of that pitch to mess up your timing.
Red Sox are not going to go lefty-righty here. This is all Uehara, and the ninth is all Kimbrel. That's how they're going to set it up. Tazawa did his job. He got Goins to end the seventh.
And Uehara can get lefties. The equalizer, a good split finger fastball.
Inside, full count. He will throw that splitter anytime.
Yep.
He walked it. So Uehara loses Smoke. 2 aboard now in the 8th. Now things get a little interesting. Darwin Barney's going to come off the bench and run for Smoke at first. Saunders at the plate. Left-handed bat, but he can bunt. The Blue Jays have hit into 4 double plays today. So you would think they would be prone to bunting right here.
And I think that's what this defensive meeting is on the mound. Who's going to go where, just in case the Blue Jays bunt. Louis Rivera came down to talk to Michael Saunders to tell him verbally exactly what he wants to do.
So now it's Uehara against Saunders. Josh Rutledge, the third baseman, committed an error that contributed to this situation. First and second, nobody out. Shaw creeping in at first. Uehara wants to see what the Blue Jays have on their mind. Saunders squares and takes the bat back, and it gets away from Vasquez. That'll take the bunt off. That ball just went off the glove of Vasquez. He was charged with a pass ball in the 5th. And I think this could be a pass ball as well. It didn't look like it was that bad a pitch.
Then you got to start thinking about a possible cross-up. And right now he has gone out to talk to Uehara. High fastball. That's what you want to do. You want to throw a high fastball if you think that the other team is going to be bunting.
I don't think it was a cross-up. I think what happened was Saunders' bat got right in the eyes of the catcher. And when he made an adjustment to catch that fastball, he was late reacting to it. He's charged with the second pass ball of the ball game.
And this is a perfect time now to slap the ball right at the shortstop. There's nobody there.
Liner taking on a hop. Pilar gets a good break, and he'll tie it up. Kevin Pilar, what a piece of base running. He had to hold up because it was a line drive. Saunders hit it on the line, but it was a one-hopper. Bogarts had to make sure he got it, and as soon as it hit the dirt, Pilar breaks for home.
And he was thinking about coming home possibly to get him. Darwin Barney, the pinch runner, can't move because this is a line drive. He can't advance, but look at Pilar. He reads it on the ground. Bogarts thinks about it and said, you know what, I got to get the out over there at first base.
Saunders picks up the RBI, his 4th of the season, and the Blue Jays have tied it here in the 8th. Josh Donaldson officially 0 for 1. He's walked twice.
Well, the Blue Jays have the right guys coming to the plate. Donaldson, Bautista, Encarnacion. If you're Darwin Barney, there's only one out. You can't stray too far, and you got to read the outfielders.
Donaldson had a good cut. Another thing Barney has to be aware of, if he sees Donaldson swinging at that ball, he can't drift too far from second. Vasquez will throw behind the runner. He's got a terrific arm. And Pedroia, you can see he's shaded up the middle. Well, Jay Happ has been given a run finally, and what an outing he has had. He got a double play to end those seven innings. He's allowed just 1 run on 3 hits, and now his team has tied it up. Hit him. Ball got away from Uehara, and Donaldson is hit. He's been on base 3 times this afternoon. And this is a perfect opportunity for Jose Bautista.
And he's due. They want to come in to Donaldson. Told you that they've been pitching in a little bit more in this series against the Blue Jays. And you have to. You have to move him off the plate. That one gets away from Donaldson. He ducks out of the way, gets it in the back.
So Donaldson gets hit by a pitch. He's at first. Pinch runner Darwin Barney's at second. Carl Willis, the pitching coach, puts an arm around Vasquez. He was charged with the second pass ball. Now the closer, Craig Kimbrell, cranking it up. It's an interesting development.
Very interesting.
So Uehara has yielded 2 home runs to Bautista. Jose is 3 for 13, but he's got 2 homers.
And I think Jose can make up for his first 3 at-bats with 1 big swing right here. He's had a rough day.
He's grounded into 3 double plays. And you're right, everything is forgotten now. Bautista with a fresh start against Uehara. Takes strike 1. Uehara has faced the minimum in the first 2 innings he's pitched in this series. Bautista out in front, fouls it straight back.
Well, the 3 double play balls have been pitches basically in the same spot all day long. It's just that Clay Buchholz has taken a little something off of each one of them. Bautista's right on him. But by taking a little something off of those pitches, he gets that ball down in the dirt. And that'll all be forgotten with 1 big swing.
0-2, 1 out. Good block by Vasquez. Mike Sparks is in the truck. He puts together those replays for us. He does a great job. Nobody's better in my mind than Mike Sparks. He loves baseball, first of all. He's a terrific TV person. One ball game. Blue Jays have tied it up here in the 8th.
I think Bogarts is asking Christian Vasquez to come out there to say, hey, what signs are you using? I can't see out here at shortstop. So he's come in to talk to his catcher.
That's a great call, Pat. I think that's exactly what happened. Bogarts wants a little better idea what pitch might be thrown so he can set up accordingly defensively.
Could make all the difference in the world. A step here or a step there.
One ball, 2 strikes. 2-2. Edwin Encarnacion on deck. He's 1 for 3. The Blue Jays might start the runners here. Bautista steps out. Uehara steps off the rubber. Now they're set. Not going. Bautista with a good cut, fouls it straight back.
He's seeing the ball right now. Those high pitches from Uehara. Watching Darwin Barney out there at second base, he's trying to get a read on the outfielders. That's the thing about playing in Fenway Park here, because the left field are so shallow, it's not a guarantee you're going to score on a base hit to left field. So you got to pick up that outfield.
Line drive down the left field line. This ball is foul, just barely foul. It slammed up against that back wall in foul territory. Bautista just out in front a bit.
He was fooled by the splitter, but he kept his hands back long enough to get good wood on it, and by a couple of feet, it's just foul.
When you talk about the outfield, Young has an average arm in left, but he's close. Jackie Bradley Jr. has a cannon for an arm, and Mookie Betts in right throws very well. Four, that'll load the bases. So the Blue Jays trying to take the lead here. Boy, they've got the right man, and that's going to be it. John Farrell has popped out of the dugout, and they're going to go to the closer, Craig Kimbrell. What a matchup we got coming on for you. Bases are loaded, one out. Uehara walked Bautista to load the bases, and now they will turn to their closer, Craig Kimbrell, against Edwin Encarnacion. Kimbrell is into the ballgame. On Saturday, he entered the game and picked up his fourth save.
You can see the thought process of John Farrell right here. He needs a strikeout, and he struck out three pretty good batters. Bautista, Encarnacion, then Tulowitzki to fill it up. He's got a great fastball and a devastating breaking ball. So you bring him in here. This might be the ultimate save right here. Bases loaded, just one out and a tie score. There are his numbers in 6 games. 4 for 4 in saves. Righties have had their problems. Lefties have had their problems. Kimbrell trying to get out of a tight situation.
Pinch runner Darwin Barney is at third base. Josh Donaldson at second. Bautista at first. Encarnacion with 9 career grand slams. Took a home run cut there. Kimbrell has struck out 8 of the last 12 batters he's faced, including Bautista, Encarnacion, and Tulowitzki on Saturday.
He's only faced 24 batters this year. Half of them have gone down with the strikeout. So you can see what John Farrell's thinking about. But all good or not, if Edwin can get one of those fastballs up.
the 8th. One out. Two down. 27 straight games for Kimbrel with a strikeout.
And if it's possible, he reached back for a little something extra there for Edward. 99 miles an hour to take him down. Watch him get him with that gas away off of the plate.
Troy Tulowitzki is 2 for 5 head-to-head against Kimbrel in his career.
You know, I can see what John Farrell is thinking about and what he's trying to accomplish here, but it's only the 8th inning.
Well, he's got to address these hitters. This is where the game is, right here.
Do you stretch him out if he gets out of this and Blue Jays hold him? Do you let him pitch the 9th inning? I mean, you got to be thinking about that too.
Yeah, but I think right now he's only focusing on this at bat. I agree with him 100%. When you've got a weapon like Kimbrel and the bases loaded with Encarnacion and Tulowitzki, you got to bring him in the game.
Bring him in. Take your chances that your offense will score you a run, and then he can finish it off in the 9th. But
it's all about run prevention right now. 1-1 ball game. Good cut. You better have your A game together when you're facing Kimbrel.
You got to start early to try and catch up to that fastball. That's what makes that breaking ball so tough. He will supply the power, I think, as a hitter. You just got to make sure you catch the ball out in front. You don't want a long swing.
It's a hard breaking ball. 89 miles an hour with the curve, and that's what that pitch is. It looks like a slider because it's so hard. Anxious moment in the ball game for Dave Dombrowski, the president of baseball operations for Boston. 2-2 pitch. Full count. 2 outs. Bases are loaded. The runners will be off on the pitch. The Blue Jays have scored a run here in the 8th to tie it. Michael Saunders with an RBI ground out.
Kimbrel not happy with that baseball. He's got a couple of them out of the strike zone. The only guy that matters right now is standing in that batter's box. No place to put him.
There go the runners. All 4, and the Blue Jays will take the lead. Darwin Barney comes in to score. Tulowitzki picks up the RBI. 3rd walk of the inning by the Red Sox bullpen. 3rd walk of the inning.
You know, we saw him reach back for a little something extra against Encarnacion and strike him out. It looked like he tried to do the same thing on those last couple pitches, reach back for a little something extra, and then came out of his delivery and missed badly to Tulowitzki, walking in the go-ahead run. Now a base hit. Blue Jays have struggled hitting with runners in scoring position this year. They've been missing that one big hit.
Look out. Kimbrel's lost it. Martin had to bail out in a hurry. Now Carl Willis, the pitching coach, said, wait a minute, I got to slow things down. Look at how far that Kimbrel missed his target.
And watching him out on the mound, he's really rubbing up that baseball and licking his fingers like he doesn't have a real good grip on that ball.
It's a cool day here, and oftentimes those baseballs, especially late in the game, when baseballs aren't as well rubbed up, the umpires will rub up 6 dozen baseballs to start the game, and then you get toward the end of the ball game, and some of them might not be really well rubbed up, and they become very slick. 50-50 in balls and strikes. Fouled straight back in our direction. Brett Cecil beginning to loosen up for the Blue Jays. Chris Young, Josh Rutledge, and Christian Vasquez, the scheduled batters for Boston in bottom of the 8th. Fouled into the catcher's mitt.
A couple of big left-handed hitters sitting on that bench for the Boston Red Sox. So John Gibbons thinking ahead here.
Blue Jays trying to split the 4-game series. Marcus Stroman will open things up tomorrow night in Baltimore. The Red Sox didn't use Tozawa, Uehara, or Kimbrel in yesterday's ball game.
This is 3 out of 4 days, though, that those 3 pitchers have worked. Kimbrel's laboring right now. 14 pitches, 7 strikes.
Another full count. Runners will be off on the pitch. Good cut from Martin. He fouled it back. Well, these two teams, you can have a 8-9 Donnybrook, or you can have a 2-1 nail biter. You never know what you're going to get when they hook up. Tampa Bay will be here tomorrow night. Blue Jays trying to break it wide open. Another good cut. That was Barnes, a right-hander, loosening up for Boston. Russell fouls it back.
Russell's getting closer. You can see it just each day, each at bat. You can see he's just getting a little bit closer to recognizing that pitch, putting good swings on it. I think it's just a matter of time before he starts driving the ball into the outfield.
Another foul ball. This inning started with an infield hit by Kevin Pillar, and the Red Sox had that compounded when Joshua Rutledge threw it into the camera well for an error. Pillar went to second, and then the pinch hitter Justin Smoke walked. He moved up on a pass ball, and Michael Saunders tied it up with a ground ball. Base hit into right field. That's going to score 2 for sure. Martin delivers a 2-run single here in the 8th.
See, sometimes you roll the dice, you bring your closer in the 8th inning in a tough situation, you can't get out of it. Blue Jays making it tough on Kimbrel and the Red Sox. What an at-bat by Russell Martin. Fouling off 3 tough pitches after it got to 3-2 and then lacing that ball into right field. This is where he's at his finest right here. Covering the plate on the outside part. Dumping that ball into right field, scoring a couple of runs. You know that's got to feel good.
Martin picks up RBIs number 2 and 3 for the season, and the Blue Jays bench comes alive. Well, the Blue Jays broke through against one of the best in the game, Craig Kimbrel. He had his problems. He struck out Encarnacion for the first out of his appearance, then walked Tulowitzki and gives up a 2-run single. Ryan Goins is the 9th Blue Jay to bat here in the 8th inning.
I got a question for you. I'm thinking along with John Gibbons. Does Jose Bautista come in and play right field next inning? Blue Jays lose the DH. They pinched hit for Carrera.
Yeah.
I'd put my best defensive team out there.
Yeah. At this point of the ball game, you only have 2 innings of defense. You have a 3-run lead, and you go ahead and give up your DH. What also helps you to make that move is the fact that Jay Happ has pitched the whole game.
Pitched the whole game, so if that spot comes up, you can pinch hit for the pitcher. That base hit by Russell Martin took the air out of the fans, didn't it?
Didn't it? They're all ready to go to see the marathon now. A bat-around inning for the Blue Jays here in the 8th. It all started against Koji Uehara. He came out of the bullpen and recorded just 1 out. Nice swing by Goins. Uehara, he had his control problems as well. He walked to hit Donaldson and gave up that infield single. He wasn't as sharp as he was in his previous 2 outings in this series. He had faced the minimum in each of the 2 innings he worked.
Had a scoreless streak on the line also dating back to last year. And he has been charged with all runs this inning, all 4 of them.
Goins strikes out to end the inning, but the damage is done. The Blue Jays put up a 4 spot in the top of the 8th to take a 4-1 lead. Now time for Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Samsung broadcast studio.
Blue Jays. New 2016 authentic jersey with 40th season sleeve patch available now. Get yours today at jshop.ca.
Well, the Blue Jays fans on the verge of watching their team split the 4 games here in Boston. 4 runs on 7 hits. Jose Bautista indeed takes over defensively in right field. He had been the DH. So he is in right field now here in the bottom of the 8th. Jay Happ, what a start for Jay. 90 pitches through 7 innings, and he's going to keep those big lefty bats on the bench, at least for the time being. And David Ortiz and Brock Holt.
And they run him back out there because Happ, if you're keeping score at home, is now in the number 9 spot. That's the second spot in the order next inning. So if you're John Gibbons in the Blue Jays, you're hoping that Happ can get through this inning right here. His spot comes up and you pinch hit for him, and then you go to somebody in the bullpen for the 9th inning.
The bases loaded walk that Kimbrough issued in that inning was the first of his career. This is popped up behind home plate and onto the screen.
First of his career, bases loaded walk.
Indeed. He just didn't have command. So Tulowitzki picks up the RBI with that bases loaded walk. 4 runs on 2 hits, 3 walks in the inning, and the air played a big part of that inning. Air by Josh Rutledge at third on the high throw. There's a drive. This one's going to be up and off the green monster. Saunders plays it well. Here's the throw to second, and Chris Young starts the bottom of the 8th with a ringing double.
That's why they brought him over here to hit left-handed pitching, and he got a 2-strike pitch and hammered that off the wall, and that didn't take long for John Gibbons to come out. He was going to go as long as he could for Jay Happ, and after this ball tattoos the wall, Gibby is out.
So Young starts it, and what a job by Jay Happ. That's just the 4th hit of the afternoon issued by Jay Happ. He pitches into the 8th inning. Another terrific start for the big left-hander. Cecil into the game. Jay Happ with a terrific outing here this afternoon, talking things over with his skipper. Happ goes 7 plus a batter, gives up 1 run on 4 hits. The base runner at second, Young, is his responsibility. Now Brett Cecil will make his 7th appearance of the season.
Brett pitched in this series a couple of days ago. He had a very nice outing, and then he gave up just a scratch hit. He was helped out by a double play ball by the Blue Jays. He'll face Josh Rutledge.
This is what John Gibbons was referring to when he talked about the 8th inning pitcher, who he was going to use. It depends on where you are in the lineup and who's on the Red Sox bench. So now you got David Ortiz and Brock Holt, 2 very good left-handed hitters. So you bring in Cecil to keep them on the bench.
Assuming you're going to have the lead into the 9th inning, Roberto Osuna is available and can pitch, doesn't matter then, right? Ortiz is going to hit no matter what then against Osuna, so you leave him on the bench by bringing in the left-hander here.
But if you get to a situation, they're not going to hit for the first 5 batters in the batting order, so Ortiz is still going to be on the bench. Now Jesse Chavez is loosening up. Big strikeout for Cecil to start his outing here. That curveball starting to come around for Brett Cecil.
You can see the arm strength and Brett Cecil getting a little bit stronger, and that means that the breaking ball is going to have a little bit more bite to it. First week of the season, he was struggling with his command. At times he was overthrowing it. Now he's just letting it work, and that time gets a big first out. I don't know what the argument was. That was right there. Really locked up Rutledge.
Christian Vasquez, the catcher, he's had a rough day. He's been charged with 2 pass balls and a big one in the 8th inning. And moved the runners up from first and second to second and third, nobody out, and changed the entire complexion of that inning. He gave up 8 pass balls in a half a season 2 years ago when he played, and it's kind of surprising. Just a matter of concentration, I think.
As good as a receiver as he is. We've talked about that before, the difference between catching minor league pitchers and catching major league pitchers. Vast difference.
There's no comparison. The quality of the pitches, the break, the movement on the fastball, the deception of the releases, it's a challenge for young catchers to get comfortable in the big leagues. Cecil ahead of 1-2. Ground ball. They got a shot at third. Nope. Tulowitzki. He kind of got handcuffed a little bit as that ball came up and hit him around the chest, and he made the right play. Take the sure out. He saw the base runner Young breaking toward third, and I think he had designs of making a throw.
For an instant, he thought about doing it. You're a runner at second base. You got to make sure that ball is to your left. But when that ball came up on Tulowitzki, the steady hand that he is, he just calmed everything down and said, I got to get the sure out right here.
2 outs now. Jackie Bradley Jr., lefty on lefty. For Cecil, this is his 7th appearance of the season. He's worked a total of 4 2/3 coming into this game. And he's starting to feel it.
Yeah, look at that, 94 miles an hour. We didn't see that last week. And he's got good movement, and he's putting it in a good spot. Jackie Bradley Jr. was looking for a couple breaking balls, and he slipped a couple of fastballs by him. Now, change up on him. Now you can throw that breaking ball.
Snapped off a beauty, but it missed. The liner into center. Kevin Pillar on the run, makes a dive to end the inning. Kevin Pillar, a 3-hit afternoon at the plate. Another fine catch in the outfield. Saves a hit for Brett Cecil. Leaves his feet. That ball was dying in right center. Once again, Superman leaves his feet to end the inning. rally started in the 8th. Then he makes a great catch to close out the bottom of the 8th. He's had a 3-hit day and some highlight film plays in the field.
3 hits in yesterday's game, 3 hits in today's game, a couple of nice catches in yesterday's game, and another one here today. Look at this, leaving his feet. We have seen that time and time again over the last couple of years. He's got a great beat on the ball. He gets a good jump, and you know what? He doesn't give up on those catches. He just runs full speed, full blast, finishes off the play, and gets the Blue Jays into the dugout.
Noe Ramirez in to pitch the 9th inning. Okay, Craig Kimbrell is out.
There are the numbers for Ramirez. Second time that we have seen him in this series. Good fastball, changeup, and slider. Did not have any fun yesterday in the ball game. 2/3 of an inning, a couple of hits, and he was charged with an earned run.
Kevin Pillar's had one 4-hit game in his career, and it came against the Red Sox. July 2nd, last season at Rogers Center, he went 4 for 5 with a double and 3 singles. Trying to get his second career 4-hit game. Colabello on deck, Storen loosening up. Wheel down to Ted Barrett, the crew chief. Colabello is on deck because Jay Happ was the 9th hitter, and then Cecil came into the game, and he was batting in the 9th spot. Remember, the Blue Jays gave up their DH when Bautista took over defensively in the field. Bautista moved into right field in the bottom of the 8th. So then Jay Happ was in the pitcher's spot in the 9th spot in the order. And then Cecil came in to take his spot. Now Colabello on deck to pinch hit for Brett Cecil.
Everybody getting into the act today, huh? One of those team wins.
Full count to Pillar. Takes ball 4. Another perfect day. First walk of the season for Kevin Pillar. Everything's starting to come together for him.
He thought he had one the other day on a pitch that was off the plate. That was the one where he was bouncing up and down with the home plate umpire. There was a 10-pitch at bat. He thought he had his first walk of the season. And that's a good sign right there when you're taking those borderline pitches.
Well, Chris Colabello will bat for the pitcher's spot. That's Cecil. Colabello trying to get on track at the plate. 8 games and 080 batting average.
And a scary at bat in yesterday's ball game.
Got hit in the head by a fastball from Stephen Wright. And you could hear the distinctive sound of that plastic helmet as that ball hit him in the helmet. He went to the ground, but fortunately for everybody, he was okay. Ground ball. Bogarts to second for 1. Pedroia back to first. That's 5 double plays turned by Boston this afternoon. That's one shy of the Blue Jays franchise mark. They grounded into 6 double plays twice in the franchise's history.
3 times after a walk. So they've negated that advantage after getting a walk. They've hit into a double play.
Back to the top of the order. Michael Saunders tied it up with a ground ball in the 8th. He drove in the first Blue Jay run in that 4-run 8th inning. The Red Sox had not committed an error in their previous 6 games before Rutledge made a throwing error that contributed to that inning. Three and one now to Michael Saunders.
You can see the patience at the plate by Saunders. He's not going to offer at some of those borderline pitches from Ramirez. Exactly what John Gibbons was looking for. Work that count. Have that leadoff here. Got to get him on in front of those big boys.
Michael Saunders on for a second time this afternoon. Second walk issued by Ramirez. 5 walks by the Red Sox bullpen this afternoon. Boston will have Tampa Bay into Fenway Park for a series starting tomorrow night. Josh Donaldson was hit by a pitch in the 8th inning. He came around and scored the 3rd Blue Jay run.
Pick it down there. Told you, you got to bring your glove down there. When you sit that close, that guy made a nice play.
Self-defense.
Yeah, maybe the ball caught him.
Donaldson gets jammed.
We have seen some nice plays here this afternoon. One more time. His eyes weren't directly on that ball.
Well, he saved his buddy in the dark shirt, that's for sure. Way to go, man. Kept it off my face.
Good play.
No balls and 2 strikes to Josh Donaldson. Solid. It's hard to be asking for those borderline pitches when you've walked 2 in the inning.
You're absolutely right. If you're not consistent and you're showing those umpires you can throw it out there, they're not going to give you the benefit of a doubt. Vasquez tried to pull that one back in.
Donaldson really starting to see the ball well, taking a lot of close pitches. He has walked twice today, was hit by a pitch, and lined out officially 0 for 1. Batting .315.
Not even close.
Jose Bautista had a big walk in the 8th inning. He scored the 4th Blue Jay run. Blue Jay hitters have had 3-2 counts all afternoon. There goes Saunders, hits strike 3 call, and Donaldson can't believe it. Breaking ball, the strikeout to end the top half of the 9th. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th. The Blue Jays have a 4-1 lead. Betts, Pedroia, and Bogarts for the Red Sox. Massachusetts, the Boston Marathon is going on, and that is a plane that just flew by the ballpark a minute ago, almost going down the path. It's like a U.S. Marine Corps plane, and the Marines have been prominent on this Patriots Day. Don't forget, after this ball game, the documentary First Impression, the Mark Shapiro story. That'll be a year coming up right after this ball game, so make sure you check that out.
Drew Storen into the game. He has had in his career 95 career saves. And with Roberto Osuna throwing yesterday, pitch count up, you got to assume that he is not available. So it's nice to have a guy who's done it before in the big leagues.
Osuna threw 20 pitches in the game yesterday, and Drew Storen has the experience, as Pat mentioned. Top of the order for Boston. Before today's game, when the Red Sox were leading after 7, they were a perfect 6-0. The Blue Jays, on the other hand, when trailing after a 7, were 0-5. So both of those streaks liable to come to an end today. Betts, Pedroia, and Bogarts for Boston. Jays have a 4-1 lead. J. Happ in line for his second win of the season. Mookie Betts 2 for 16 in this series. The Blue Jays have done a good job of keeping him off base.
They've used the fastball, I think, very effectively against him. He's one of the best in baseball at hitting the off-speed pitch. So you might want to heat him up a little bit here.
Storen's breaking ball has gotten better and better. Big sweeping breaking ball. He has the ability to throw it harder and get that swing and a miss, or he can use it to get ahead. Kevin Pillar is there. Tough to get anything by him. One down. Dustin Pedroia 0 for 3 this afternoon. Dustin Pedroia has a streak at stake. He's reached base in 47 straight games against American League East opponents. He is 0 for 3 this afternoon.
Didn't he have a big one against the Blue Jays also?
He had that one snapped. It was a 24-game streak where he reached base. Actually, Pedroia's streak is still alive. He's got 26 online. He's reached base in 26 straight
in a row. That started back in 2014. He's been hitting .330 since then with 9 base on balls.
3-1. One out. We're in the bottom of the 9th. Blue Jays trying to split the 4-game series with the Red Sox. That would get them back to 500 at 7-7. Pedroia continues that streak. That's 27 straight games he's reached base against the Blue Jays. That ties Wade Boggs, who had a 27-game streak, 86 through 88.
And it keeps that streak alive for him against the American League East. That's 48 straight games. club record as Wade Boggs also reached 61 consecutive games against AL East teams. Dustin Pedroia with a base hit. And the one guy you got to think about right now is David Ortiz. Where is he? And when will John Farrell use him?
Well, you wouldn't think he would use him for Travis Shaw or Hanley Ramirez. Probably not until he gets down to Chris Young, but he's lurking.
And if you're a Blue Jays fan, you don't want to see him. Just take the day off, Big Papi. Just sit over there.
Two balls and no strikes to Xander Bogaerts. He's 0 for 3. Blue Jays have out-hit the Red Sox 8-5. Torey Lovullo, the bench coach for John Farrell, they're talking about some of the options they might have available. Blue Jays don't have anybody throwing in their bullpen. If you're not going to use Osuna to start the inning, you're not going to bring him into this game. Popped up. Saunders battling the sun. Now Pilar says, I got it. And Pilar came over. I'm not sure Saunders saw that ball once it got up into the sun, and Pilar was there to back him up, had it all the way.
But you know what he did? Right away, he peeled off and let Pilar concentrate on that ball. The last thing you want to do as you're looking up into the sun trying to catch a baseball is to hear footsteps. He peeled off, gave Pilar as much room as he needed to make that play.
So the Red Sox are down to their last out. Travis Shaw homered in the 9th yesterday afternoon. Hit a 2-run home run off of Osuna. That's a nice place for David Ortiz right there on the bench.
That's Torey Lovullo, the bench coach, going over there to talk to him, telling him what they've come up with.
Pedroia goes to second. Blue Jays will concede that back. Ball and the strike to Travis Shaw. This ball is trouble. High and deep to left field off the green monster. Pedroia's around third. He's going to score. Travis Shaw with an RBI double. His 5th double of the season.
You know, what you don't want to do in these types of games is get the tying run to the plate in this ballpark. And with this double by Shaw, you mentioned the home run he hit in the 9th inning yesterday. Comes close to it this time. Doubling off the wall in left field. The tying run comes to the plate now on Hanley Ramirez.
So Shaw, 2 for 4 in the afternoon, drives home his 7th run of the season. Hanley Ramirez has doubled, and here's Big Papi. That's what the crowd's excited about. He's come out on deck. First pitch strike. Throwing through that slider on the inner part of the plate. Ramirez is 2 for 8 against Storm. And we've spent time in the National League, of course. Up the middle, can't be knocked down. A run's going to come in to score. Travis Shaw comes in, and that'll bring David Ortiz to the plate.
Your attention, please. Now pinch hitting for Young. Number 34, David Ortiz.
Dane Johnson, the bullpen coach, filling in for Pete Walker, goes to the mound now to try to help Drew Storen regroup here.
You know, they used Brett Cecil earlier in this game, so this is the situation for him. But Pat Venditti has gotten up. Yeah, stay to the left side, because if they decide to bring him in, this is the guy they're going to use him for right here.
David Ortiz 0 for 1 against Storen. Of course, he had that impassioned speech after the 2013 bombing during the Boston Marathon, and these people in Boston love him.
They may have been waiting all afternoon for this opportunity. He has come up with so many clutch hits in his career.
Drew Storen trying to close it out, 2 outs. Hanley Ramirez at first base. The Blue Jays have a 4-3 lead. Storen ahead, 1-2. Drew Storen with plenty of experience in these situations.
Everybody deep for the Blue Jays. The outfield, they don't want anything over their heads. The infield is deep to knock anything down and have a shot at throwing them out at first base.
We have seen this act before here at Fenway.
They make you play to the final out, don't they? Crowd starts to get into it. Leads are hard to come by and to keep.
David Ortiz on the all-time home run list at Fenway Park. Hall of Famers all over the place. Ortiz with 203. Got it. Ball game. David Ortiz caught looking at strike 3, and Drew Storen gets his first save as a Blue Jay.
He was able to reach back for a little something extra. Russell Martin called for a fastball inside, and they totally locked up David Ortiz. That's why Russell Martin is so excited right now. What a game, what a pitch, what a call. Blue Jays win a tough one. Look at it one more time. Look where Martin is set up on the inside part of the plate. He reaches back for a little something extra. It catches the top of the strike zone, and the Blue Jays have a split in this big 4-game series.
What a big game for the Blue Jays. Jay Happ picks up his second win of the season. Drew Storen